Stage, NFA GRC Vice Chair Eric Oppenheim.
Good afternoon. Now, my understanding, based on the NFA bylaws, is Steve Lewis is not allowed to run again for a third term. So I think in 4 years, you'll be able to run for President of the United States. So we'll write your name in, okay? So thank you, Steve. You know, the last 8 years have been among the most challenging, but also rewarding from a government relations perspective. We've joined other small businesses to prevent a federal minimum wage increase, which isn't an easy task considering a majority of the public support a wage hike. Everyone in this room wants to pay their employees a fair share or a fair wage. We value them and we need them. But we cannot allow the federal government to dictate to us how we run our businesses. What works in my state of Maryland doesn't necessarily work here in the state of Florida. We've also been leaders on issues like defeating a Senate amendment to commercialize interstate rest areas. This would have negatively impacted 3,500 Burger King restaurants located off interstate exits. And some studies show there would be a decline in traffic of 20 to 25%. Now, our GRC happened to be in Washington, D.C. during the vote, and we personally engaged. Other stakeholders publicly acknowledged our leadership and role in defeating this amendment. Government Relations Chair Pete Cotter convinced his Senator, Richard Burr, on the morning of the vote to switch his vote. Now, this may not have been a high-profile issue like minimum wage, but is one that could have harmed nearly 50% of Burger King restaurants in the United States. We were also co-founders of the 15-year Restaurant Depreciation Coalition in 2001, and finally won a permanent 15-year schedule for our building improvements and new construction down from 39 years. This has increased the cash flow for many of you, and I know that's something that's well needed these days. Now, many of you don't believe getting politically involved makes a difference, but these are just two recent examples where it did make a difference. Unfortunately, our business remains under attack from labor activists. This started with Obamacare in Washington, D.C., and yes, we lost this battle after trying to educate members of Congress about our business model. They treated us just like ExxonMobil or Apple, who may have more financial flexibility to expand benefits for their employees. Now, they're turning to the states for results, and these results are starting to produce. Many states have paid sick leave mandates. 2 cities have $15 minimum wage, and 1 has a predictive scheduling mandate, where you must give workers a 2-week advance schedule, and if you change it, you pay a penalty to the worker. Environmental activists are also attacking us, trying to ban drive-thrus in certain jurisdictions like Seattle. Make no mistake, our business model is under attack. And now the National Labor Relations Board is expanding the definition of employer from direct control to indirect control. This means that you no longer may be an independent business owner, but a joint employer with BKC, suppliers, and contractors. This is very, very scary, make no mistake. And it must be taken seriously by franchisees, BKC, and RBI leadership. It's further disturbing that many of our allies in the restaurant government relations world are actually withdrawing from these battles. Both McDonald's and Yum Brand recently drastically cut their government relations budgets, including letting go of 2 of their GR staffers. Both Darden and Dine Equity have closed their DC government relations offices. But it's encouraging, however, that RBI will be hiring a director of government relations for the United States. Now, as Steve mentioned, we have an ugly choice for president, but we have plenty of pro-business candidates to support at the Senate and at the House level. So if you're disgusted like many about the presidential choice, I urge you to still get in the voting booth and support pro-business candidates down ballot. There's simply not enough time to talk about everything on the horizon that you should know, but we are also addressing many other pressing issues. As I mentioned earlier, these laws and regulations are direct attacks on your business. But have no fear. Your government relations team and the Burger King government relations team will continue to fight on your behalf and remain on the lookout for new attacks. But we can only do so much because legislators, whether they're at the state or the federal level, don't mind hearing from corporate government relations professionals or paid lobbyists. But who they really want to hear from are living, breathing, voting constituents. That's you. So we need your help. We need you to make contact with your representatives and develop relationships with them. We need you to lobby your representatives, and we'll provide you with letters, talking points that you can use in phone calls, letters and emails, and one-on-one meetings. We will make it easy for you to be the best advocate you can be. Sure, you're going to need to tell them why you like or dislike a piece of legislation, but you also need to tell them how many restaurants you own, how many employees you have, and remind them that you create hundreds of jobs in their districts or states, and that you and your employees vote. One particular point that needs to be made is that our jobs are not dead-end jobs. We all have managers who started working as hourly workers and are earning a solid minimum wage and a solid middle-class income. Education is key to success in life, but it's also critical success in promoting and protecting our interests with policymakers in Washington, D.C., and at the local level. Be sure to check out the NFA Government Relations website, specifically NFA Votes Link. It's a site specifically dedicated to political and legislative matters. In addition, you should join your local state restaurant associations and your state chamber of commerce. The cost to join these associations are minimal, especially compared to what you can get out of it. At least once a year, the state restaurant associations have lobby days, where the restaurateurs in your state will visit state capitol and lobby on issues as a group. And at the federal level, BKC and the NFA host an annual government relations summit in Washington, D.C., where franchisees, BKC leaders, and system vendors get together to learn more about government affairs. It starts with a series of very interesting briefings by opinion makers and politicians. In the past, we featured high-level speakers from all over the political spectrum. Political strategists like James Carville, Mary Madeline, Newt Gingrich, Karl Rove, Representative Mike Kelly, Speaker Paul Ryan, Senator John McCain, Carly Fiorina, Paul Begala, and Tucker Carlson. At the Government Relations Summit, after we learn the issues, we gather in state delegations and go up for meetings on the Hill. And we go up there to directly lobby Congress and the Senate. Last year, we had more than 300 attendees and is growing every year. The 2017 summit is scheduled for June 7th through 9th at the Crystal City Hyatt in Crystal City, Virginia. You really don't want to miss this. Ask anyone who's attended, they'll tell you. They're ecstatic about what they learn. So watch for more information on the BK Gateway and from the NFA on this exciting event. But there's another way that you can help. By making a donation to the Burger King Franchisee PAC. That's our federally registered political action committee. Where does the money go when you donate to our PAC? It goes to support the campaigns of people running for office that are going to support our business. Senate and congressional candidates who vote to protect small business and employers like you and defeat the folks who are looking to legislate and regulate you out of business. More information about PAC giving is also available on the NFA website and on the BK Gateway. And for those of you that ask, what else can I do? Well, I encourage you to invite your member of Congress or state representatives to your restaurants. If you ask them, many of them will come. And when they come, you can educate them about the jobs that you create. You can tell them about how challenging it is to make a profit, given the increased level of regulations, taxes, and employer mandates that you face. Don't be surprised to learn that many members of Congress think that Burger King restaurants are all owned by BKC. and that the laws and regulations that come out of Washington, D.C. and the state houses really don't matter, because you work for a 7,000 restaurant multinational chain that creates dead-end jobs and serves unhealthy food. The visit they make to your restaurants can be a truly eye-opening experience for them if you take the time to show them what our business is really all about. And that state representative or assemblyman who visits your restaurant today might be the next member of Congress tomorrow. So use these visits to develop a long-term relationship. Getting involved is a critical part of a participatory democracy. Government can only succeed and protect the rights of its citizens and businesses if your citizens and businesses participate. If you have any questions, if you read an article in your local paper about a new law that could impact your restaurants, or if you think there's a candidate running for office that you'd like for us to support, you can always reach out to our team directly. Between me, Pete Cotter, Misty Challey, Carl Saliba, Patrick McGrade, Carol Patterson, franchisees of the Government Relations Committee, you will find support and you will find someone who can help you figure out what to do to have an impact. So in closing, I want you to take 3 things away from this presentation. Number 1, not everyone in America wants to see the Burger King brand succeed. And there are forces out there that want to legislate you out of business. Number 2, together, BKC and you, the franchisees, we can make our voices heard in Washington and in state capitals and city halls and fight for your business. And number 3, register to attend the Government Relations Summit. I look forward to seeing you all there in June, and I can promise you, you'll be energized by what you hear and what you do. I'll be here after the session if you all have any questions about any of the issues discussed. But finally, I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite sayings regarding government relations in the restaurant industry. It's as true today as it was 17 years ago when I first heard it. Remember, if you ain't at the table, then you're on the menu. Thank you very much, and I look forward to making Burger King great for all of us.